Smoke bomb, shield drop, even the skill specialist is worth something here. Skill specialist would mean that I instantly get my EMP back. But I do decide to go for the smoke bomb. Yeah, that is another thing. Now he has to think not only about the smoke bomb, which usually I think you would put your shields much further up forward. Now he also has to think about the EMP, potentially disabling his techs. So this early EMP pickup, I think it really is worth it. You pay $100 if you don't skip. And possibly the opportunity cost of getting something good instead. But at the same time, you kinda get to do some good stuff here. My Vulcan shenanigans are evolving. I'm now putting the Vulcan further up forward so that it can throw his incendiary bombs sooner. And then I'm mobile beaconing it back to a tank behind this tower that has more HP than the Vulcan. Do I remember to shield here? Is what I'm wondering about. Meanwhile, even more Marksman madness comes out with EMP this time. That should be doing a number on the Scorpions and Arclights. Honestly, I think that Elite would have been better, maybe? Maybe the answer is no more techs on the Marksman. What do they really gain from EMP? They can shut off the Scorpion range. I guess maybe if he goes into siege mode, it becomes really good. I did remember to shield, and as a result, it looks like absolutely no smoke is landing. He did go for a missile interceptor on the Mustangs, and they actually managed to intercept all of the incendiary bombs. They should be doing the same here. Yep, not one of them lands. This Marksman is actually disabling the Scorpion. That is funny. The tower is still level 3, and that is a lot of damage moving in. More missiles, all being intercepted. Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be an absolute stomp for my opponent. That hurts. Ouch. Ouch is all I can say. Now I do carry a trump card with me when it comes to these, what's it called? Oh, incendiary bomb, yeah. Or more EMP. I do carry a trump card on my Vulcan build that probably not many people have because it's only useful in niche situations. He's leveling these Mustangs. I think that is a mistake. I can just oil bomb. And suddenly I think I double the amount of missiles that are flying at my opponent. And then I drop 2 additional Vulcans. So this is... yeah, this is a lot of extra missiles to intercept. And there's no... No, actually there is extra Mustangs, it would seem. He's dropping this in hopes. in hopes of killing all of my Marksmen. And, okay, I decide to sell something. Hopefully I shield here. Everything else would be a throw. Alright. I even have enough money left over to level that Marksman. I should put this Vulcan not as far behind. I kinda also have a second Vulcan just to kill all of this chaff and get some missiles through. This shouldn't be terrible for me. Maybe this Marksman dies? Not even. It's level 2. Level 1, it would have killed it. Look at the absolute sea of fire. Someone, namely me, wants to watch the world burn. And look, now the fire is landing here and it's basically creating a second... what's the ability's name? Is it just incendiary bomb or something? I'm not sure. EMP is now actually doing something good. It's shutting off the range here. But these, all of these units now have to move through the fire. That is painful. Well, then again, they have the range to not have to do that all that much. And actually, the Vulcan is level 2 roasting the Scorpion. That is crazy. Marksmen are still scaling. My opponent's Arclights have been stopped in their tracks. Well, technically, these are level 5. Level 2, level 3. I think he sold one of the Arclights. I can absolutely understand why. This turned into an absolute mad game. And this is where I find out something interesting. I know that he's most likely going to Iron Beam. As am I. I know that I have a lot of low health units here whose only hope is to be shielded. So I'm thinking, what can I do to protect myself against this iron beam? Well, that incendiary bomb is going to be on my... All of that is... No, not all, but most of that is going to be on my units. Yeah, that's going to be painful. But at the same time, all these incendiary bombs are going to be painful to my opponent as well. Damage on the Scorpion. That Scorpion is doing almost 85,000 damage. So I decided to see and try to make shields overlap. Because I know one shield can't possibly stop the iron beam. With Shield Device Specialist, I'm not sure how it maps out. But I want to see if I can maybe protect my Marksman. And you will see how this one goes after the round starts in a few moments. My opponent is shielding as well. And I'm going for a War Factory with range. I guess as a finisher or... Oh, yeah, that was an experiment to see if I can just make this one punch through as sort of a finisher. This incendiary bomb, actually not even remotely as painful as I thought it might be. It turns out that both shields get damaged at the same time from the splash AoE of the iron beam. A lot of marksmen lose their lives here. The game is starting to chuck, probably from all of the fire missile effects and the missile interceptors shooting them. The War Factory is falling flat. The Scorpion is just doing too much damage here. Can they get off another salvo? Probably. Yep, here it comes. And that means everything here burns. The marksmen that survive, and there's a decent amount of marksmen because they were very much so spread out, they are just sniping the opponent. He really backed himself into a corner, and this is just... How did I'm looking at this board. How did I even get there? Like, stacks upon stacks of marksmen hiding behind Vulcans with both incendiary bomb and sticky oil bomb. And now I guess it's time for the finisher. High level Wraith. Give it range, give it heal, give it floating artillery array. My opponent sold the unit that could potentially solve this problem. And then it's just time to move them in, because what here is good against air? He throws the siege mode on the Scorpions. Siege mode is now nerfing the Scorpions to 6 seconds of reload time. That is almost as bad as, what's it called? Almost as bad as the Stormcallers. That is crazy. This is going to provoke no incendiary bombs, I think, because they are all going after either these Mustangs that are probably not going to achieve anything. Or he's going into ranged wasps. Yeah, that is a valid choice against this amount of marksmen. I don't know why he's making them level 2. He's not elite. I think level 1 would have done just as well. And he would have had 300 more bucks to spend. No, actually, he dropped 4 and elite, so he would have had 500 more bucks to spend. But he doesn't have shield. Once again, all the missiles and all the fire effects completely decimating the frame rate. I am sorry about that. You're gonna have two things to look out for. The Wraith here, that is effectively a raid boss in and of itself. And the Wasps against the Marksman fight here. With shields, I think that could turn out so much better, but he does get the tower. However, there is so many marksmen, and they can still one-shot these level 2 wasps. Most of them, anyway. And meanwhile, the Siege Mode Scorpions, that is a really good attempt at breaking this marksman formation. Look at the splash, baby. However, the splash now ends. There is a... Well, it doesn't end. It will end soon. After the EMP effect. This Wraith is pushing through, and assuming this Vulcan does not go down, despite the fact that my entire marksman clump is being wiped out. It all hinges on this Vulcan living. And that Wraith is not messing around. The Vulcan dies, and that means my opponent did in fact buy himself another round to win. It is time to see how I can deal with potentially 5 more wasps. He didn't go for the second, what's it called, deployment specialist. I did go for the deployment specialist. Was it this round or was it the other round? I'm not sure. Anyway, I can be a bit of spell Andy here. I can drop some EMP to soften up the shields, and I can drop some smoke. Something interesting happened here that I was not thinking about. Meanwhile, my opponent is throwing the iron beam in front of all of these units, and he apparently is hoping to get a smoke bomb through. I don't think that's going to happen unless I let it happen. I decide to go into wasps myself, give them elite. I wanted to click anti-air. I misclicked here. So I gave them elite instead of range. Well, level 2 was, I think, anti-air would have done so much more. My opponent is just dropping the wasps like an absolute madman. But then again, I've decided to drop wasps into somebody who has all these mustangs. And again, these mustangs are basically nullified. Yeah, what I do, I think, is... by the way, finance this by selling the Wraith. What I decided to do is put them as far behind, and I think I'm going to clump them up and mobile beacon them. Levels on these units, now that I have spent my money on things that I need to spend it on. I have one more to level here. But I have a mobile beacon to set up. Do I level this? I apparently was not fast enough. I was thinking too much about what to do. Interestingly, now with the EMP, the Iron Blast can do a lot of work even on ground units. I am going to be destroyed by this one as well. That is painful to see this many high-level marksmen just get destroyed. But at the same time, the wasps have been destroyed very effectively. There is just about nothing left on this side. However, there's a lot left on this side. It's probably going to come down to what value this Vulcan here can get. My wasps have been wiped out. I think with anti-air they would have stayed back further and it would have been a lot better. But this level 2 Vulcan is officially doing all the work on the ground units, and when all the ground units have been taken care of, it is time to see if the Marksman can clean up the rest. There isn't all that many left. They do get a tower from my side of the field, and that is probably going to be what saves me here. Meanwhile, the Melter is stuck hitting wasps. There's going to be a tower for my opponent, but the Marksmen have the edge on range, and they have EMP to make sure they keep the edge on range. While the Melter is still tanking behind the Arclight. At the end of the day, I think I don't need to say anything more. EMP on the Marksman wins it, and my opponent does not have the health to tank even those few Marksmen. 3 Marksmen managed to win this one, after many of their brothers having been cleaved through by EMP and splashed by Scorpions. Man, that was an insane match. That was an insane one. If you showed me this board and told me that I was going to do that, I think I would call you crazy. But this is how it happened. This was such an insane game. My opponent tried to counter. I think this is the fatal mistake that my opponent made. He tried to counter the Vulcans that he could clearly check beforehand had sticky oil bomb as well, with missile interceptor Mustangs. It didn't work. The Scorpions were completely destroying me. The Wasps were definitely a huge problem. But I think his investment into Mustangs with range and missile interceptor is kind of what broke his back there. Anyway, that was a real fun one, and a real close one at the end. I could easily lose this by a lot if this Vulcan doesn't get rid of the majority of the chaff here. I could easily lose this one. It was very fortunate that the strategy of hiding Vulcans behind level towers was actually working. Insane. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and until next time.